What in the world is happening in the crypto markets today? Why does Bitcoin always crash in the first month of every January every year? Separately, how many times a year can one country ban Bitcoin or exchanges? And if or when the Bitcoin correction comes swinging back at us full swag, will we be seeing the value of Bitcoin really increase, or will it be the USD getting pinched with global risk and rising inflation? Grab the nachos, we have the dip, and let's discuss. Hello everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr., you're you, and together we are Minting Coins, your trusted source for crypto news, interviews, and ICO reviews. If you're new or not, tap that like button and subscribe to our show. It really supports us and it helps other people find this content. Also, leave your questions and comments as you have them so your voice is heard as part of the community. In this show, we're going to be talking about what's happening in the markets, why are the markets down, why do the markets go down every January, and then also what's happening in the world, what's happening with the United States dollar that have a lot of people concerned about inflation in America and a lot of other people excited about what this could mean for the correlation and adoption of Bitcoin and blockchain technology. So with that being said, why don't we jump right into the market, take a peek at the news, and then let's discuss. Okay, so starting over here at coinmarketcap.com, living in a world with over 1,450 different cryptocurrencies listed on coinmarketcap.com, total market capitalization north of $0.5 trillion. We have $591 billion. 24-hour trading volume, just huge. $48 billion traded in the past 24 hours. That's a lot in terms of the historical context, but still not a lot when we look at the traditional financial markets. The Bitcoin BTC dominance down and around 34.5%, 34.7% right now. And so out of this $591 billion, $200 billion is part of the Bitcoin market capitalization. The total amount of money inside Bitcoin, $100,000 billion per Bitcoin price, $12,000. A lot of trading in the past 24 hours. Then we have Ethereum, Ripple, Bitcoin Cash, Cardano, but everything down overall when we look at it in terms of the USD price. Tether, still hovering around what Tether does. A lot of concerns about that token, but definitely helps the traders equalize the losses since it does usually stay around $1. A lot of really exciting things happening in the market, a lot of really exciting things happening across the industry, a lot of really interesting projects out there in the crypto space, all of them right now being affected. I would just note in the back of your minds, recognize that the Bitcoin Lightning Network is being worked on. Lightning Network is looking very strong from what we're reading on the Twitterverse and what we're reading in the different message boards and what we're hearing on YouTube. If you check out some of the videos from Andreas Antonopoulos, and see what they're saying about the Lightning Network. A lot of mechanisms are part of the Lightning Network to keep privacy high, transaction fees low, and decentralization as a strong part of the community moving forward. When that happens, it's definitely going to cause huge waves and ripple effects throughout the entire cryptocurrency market. It's just going to add to the growth, going to add to the dominance of Bitcoin, and it's going to help push away some of these other coins which are trying to compete with Bitcoin if and when Bitcoin comes through those hurdles, over those hurdles, and there's no issues that we see coming from that. So just keep an eye out for Lightning Network coming for Bitcoin. Turning over to Twitter, seeing some interesting stuff that we've been tweeting over here. You have this one Twitter user saying that this is the 7th time we've caused the market panic by banning Bitcoin, and we've become exceedingly efficient at it. This is after they had previously tweeted, this is the 3rd time we have fooled the media that Bitcoin might lose the top cryptocurrency spot, and we have become exceedingly efficient at it. And so just over and over again, what we have is a situation where Bitcoin is being banned, and every time Bitcoin is banned, we see market dips, we see it affecting the price, And I would definitely take a look at this little meme over here talking about the differences between people who are in the market, altcoin holders, and holders, right? And if you want to be a holder, then you want to just be strong with your understanding, strong with your conviction, strong with your practice of dollar cost averaging into tokens and not selling every time there's a dip. This whole market, they say, could go to zero. The whole market, they say, could crash. But 9 years in a row, the market has done well. 9 years in a row, the market has increased, and Bitcoin is still not dead. It's stronger than ever. And with what we're seeing in the traditional media, the traditional markets, the world that has created the mess that we're in, traditional fiat currency continues to carry a lot of risk. Traditional fiat currency is continuing to bring people concern in terms of the inflation, in terms of the mechanisms of control, and just the decision making, which has set up the situation that we're in with as much debt as there is in the world. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is just showing a lot of strength. So grab the nachos. We have the dip. Dollar cost average through this. It's going to be really interesting to see how long it takes to overcome this correction, and if the past is any indication of the future. Not only are we going to come through this correction, through this dip inside Bitcoin today, but we're also going to be superseding that $20,000 all-time high, which we saw about a month ago from today. And so what's happening, if we turn over to Reddit, we have, some people, Eclipse Gum, who is really articulating what's going on here. And so Asia still dominates the crypto trading by volume. And what's happening in a few weeks, we have the Lunar New Year, which is lots of money flowing back to buy presents, travel, all sorts of expenses and needs for the holiday and the celebration and the gift giving, which is going to be happening across Asia and across China. And so people are spending a ton of money on travel and presents during this year, and projections, apparently according to Forbes, are $100 billion in USD spending for the Chinese New Year. And so this is sort of the opposite reaction that we have in America with Christmas, where Christmas happens and all the stocks increase because the sales are increasing. But in crypto, people are selling their crypto to actually buy their items and to participate in the economy. And so the value of that crypto goes down a little bit. So skipping over to this other Reddit post, it's entitled Deja Vu and Why You Probably Shouldn't Sell. And so early 2015, we see this huge dip in the Bitcoin price. Early 2016, we see this huge dip in the Bitcoin price. Early 2017, we see that same dip in the Bitcoin price. Now, early 2018, you're seeing, again, this same dip. So typically we're seeing this build up into the end of the year from the previous year, and then we're seeing a dip in the January of the beginning of the year every year. And so what's happening? Not only are we seeing the dip in January, but then it's also interesting to see how the prices are actually increasing over and over throughout time. And if you want to see this whole graph put together, then you can just go over to coinmarketcap.com and see what it looks like, as this is increasing over year after year. So we just have this pattern of the Chinese New Year happening, of a dip in Bitcoin, of people in America panic selling while other people in the know are purchasing this dip, and then the price recovering, and not only recovering, but typically doing better than it had before the dip had come in. And we'll see if that holds true in 2018 or not, and then probably talk about this again in early 2019. In addition to what's happening with the Chinese New Year, we have China that's looking to ban and censor centralized cryptocurrency trading. Let it be the banning of the Bitcoin or the banning of the exchanges or the banning of whatever it is that they want to ban. We have China banning stuff. We have Korea, South Korea banning Bitcoin, and over again this happens. And why do they keep on banning Bitcoin 10 times over? It's not because it worked the previous 9 times. They ban Bitcoin, the price goes down. People buy Bitcoin, the price goes up. This is such a lame cliche at this point, but it's important that people recognize that this is happening over and over again. And so what's their reasoning? Again, they're just saying the pseudo-financial innovations have no relationship with the real economy. therefore they should not be supported. It doesn't matter if they're supported or not. People are going to be purchasing into these cryptocurrencies for exactly the reasons why the central governments and the central banks are going to be against them. And it's not just China's. Cryptocurrencies are occupying the minds of banks and regulators all across the world. It's going beyond the fun stage, or just the try to ban it stage, or the try to regulate it stage. It's really being taken seriously by the banks, by the regulators, by the nations. Let it be, Russia, or let it be the United States, let it be the banks, or let it be the small businesses. Everyone is really thinking about Bitcoin. Even if they're not a huge believer of it now, it's easy to see how the S-curve is taking shape, and how the Bitcoin blockchain technology industry now is sort of like the internet in the early 1990s. Once this really starts to take hold, once the MySpace of Ethereum comes around, once Google of Bitcoin happens to pop up, and the technology really starts to take shape in terms of everyday use, everyday adoption, if you're just getting into Bitcoin at that stage of the game, then it's just going to be not quite as fun as it could be if you were to get into Bitcoin now. Over here, turning at CoinDesk, we have the German central banker saying that cryptocurrencies must be regulated on a global scale. So every time one single country may ban Bitcoin, it may hurt the price of Bitcoin, but the rest of the world is able to use Bitcoin, is able to trade Bitcoin. So one country banning Bitcoin is not going to stop it. All the countries in the world banning Bitcoin is also not going to stop it, but it would definitely make things interesting in terms of them being able to have effective regulation. And so over here we have this quote saying, effective regulation of virtual currencies would therefore only be achievable through the greatest possible international cooperation, because of the regulatory power of nation states is obviously limited. This is exactly what we are saying, and this is now what he's saying following the developments out of China, South Korea, where they are having huge difficulties, recognizing that blockchain technology is a global, borderless, censorship-resistant, peer-to-peer technology that allows anyone to send and receive either value or messages without requiring a third party. This is very, very interesting for the world. It's very, very interesting for them. They have huge concerns, but even if they did have the greatest possible international cooperation, there would still be nations and places in the world that would accept Bitcoin. Bitcoin would go underground. And how well has the world done at making liquor illegal? How well has the world done at making the war on drugs illegal? Making things illegal doesn't make them go away. And in a world where blockchain technology can become more private and more decentralized, it is impossible. And the greatest effective regulation is likely going to be the acceptance and development of the technology that really puts everyone's best interests forward. Because if it doesn't put everyone's best interests forward, it's likely not going to put the best interests of just the bankers and just the nations forward. It's going to really be focused on the collective, because the blockchain technology is about consensus. Blockchain technology is about getting a majority of the people to agree, and if there's a huge segment of the population that doesn't agree, then I suppose you have Bitcoin Cash gets created. And Bitcoin Cash is going to compete with Bitcoin, BTC, and it'll be really interesting to see how that development works out. And if the current state of affairs are any indication, if the past is any sort of roadmap, then we can expect to see the Bitcoin BTC technology to increase the adoption, to increase its hashing power, and then to increase its development to make it more affordable and more efficient with greater decentralization, which is just going to exponentially increase not just the value of Bitcoin, but the value of Bitcoin over other cryptocurrencies, which don't have as much of an advantage as Bitcoin does in terms of time, in terms of power, in terms of resources, developers, and actual development. In addition, at the same time that Bitcoin is increasing, it's decreasing, it's increasing, but overall we see Bitcoin increasing exponentially from where it was a year ago. But also at the same time, what's happening is that the US dollar may be decreasing in value at a more rapid pace than many people are hoping for, that many people are expecting. And the value of Bitcoin, even if it's not increasing at a greater pace that the dollar is decreasing, the effects of the decreased value of the dollar is going to be directly seen inside other financial instruments like Bitcoin or like gold. The difference, though, is that people know exactly how much Bitcoin is in the world, and people aren't quite sure exactly how much gold is in the world. And so Bitcoin is definitely at gold 2.0 quality, where it's almost more tangible than gold is, because while you can physically hold a piece of gold, you can physically hold a piece of Bitcoin, you can, with absolute certainty, quantify the exact number of Bitcoin that are theoretically in existence and just have 100% reasonable certainty of what that number is. You just don't have that certainty with gold. You don't have that tangible aspect of knowing exactly how much gold there is in the whole world. Even though you can hold a micro piece of it, people are shifting. People's recognition of money, understanding of money, identification with money is shifting, especially in a time of the world where there are more millennials who are able to vote than there are living baby boomers. And so what this CNN article money is talking about is that it's been a tough start for the 2018 greenback. Greenback is the nickname for the USD, the US dollar. And so the US dollar has already lost nearly 2% of its value against other currencies, trading as its lowest level in more than 3 years. And this is following a 10% decline in the dollar in 2017. And so year after year, we have year over year dollar value decline in growth and value, and people aren't sure what's going on. And so the Federal Reserve has been raising the interest rates in the past year, and usually the rate hikes boost the dollar's value because they cause more foreign investors to buy the American asset, and this helps keep inflation in check. So apparently, while the rate hikes have been happening, there's a lot of uncertainty that's going on in America within the politics, within the central banks themselves. Even with the decisions that the Federal Reserve is making in the 2 consecutive quarters of solid growth and strong holiday sales, the dollar still isn't growing in the value that it should be. So while at the same time this article is throwing a lot of caution, saying there shouldn't really be a lot of concern, the fact is that the value of the dollar is going down, and there is a risk of inflation going up, especially with a lot of concern that's happening, as we were saying a second ago, in the world of politics within America, with the Trump presidency, with the stock market overall, with bond market. And so the question is, will the dollar's weakness actually hurt the U.S. economy and the stock market? And what this article goes to lean on is the simple fact that the faith in the US dollar is still just as strong pretty much as it's ever been, that it looks unlikely anytime soon that the euro or the China's yuan or the gold or Bitcoin are unlikely to replace the US dollar anytime soon or just yet. And so that may be just adding caution in the wind, helping people to calm down, slow down the nerves of them freaking out, because what's happening is that they're looking at graphs like this of the US dollar chart, and they're just seeing that the value of the dollar is just going down, 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 down compared to these other currencies, which in America you might not recognize that if all you deal with is in dollars. But what this means is that everything else is going to get more and more expensive if the value of this dollar isn't fixed. And so over here we have this article that was written August 2017. What is the value of the US dollar today? And so we could see that in the year 1950, if you had $10.17, that would have had the same value as $100. 1960, you would need $12. 1970, you need $16. 1980, you need $34. 1990, you would need $55 to feel like you have $100. And then in the year 2000, it goes up to 72, and you can see the exponential rise happening here, everybody. And then 2010, you need about $92 to feel like you had $100. And so we just see it takes more and more money to buy simpler and simpler things. And this is the opposite that we have in Bitcoin, where it's taking less and less Bitcoin to purchase more and more things. Because the value of the US dollar is going down, The stock market has never been stronger. The economy has never been stronger. But at the same time, the bond market is on shaky ground. There's a lot of concern and early signs and warning bells coming out of the industry about the US dollar and about inflation, about market growth, about world growth. And with that, it's just really interesting to recognize how these are correlated. That as the dollar goes down in value, the Bitcoin goes up in value. As the dollar, they can print more and more and more of these dollars, and limited numbers of these dollars, these USD, can get printed into the world. There's never going to be more than 21 million Bitcoin. And if everybody wanted one Bitcoin, that would be impossible. So if you had even a fraction of a Bitcoin, then that could be the fraction that helps you, or the fraction that saves you, especially when you think about where the internet was in the early 1990s, and see that in 30 years, where could Ethereum be today? In 30 years, will Bitcoin be from where it is today? And what will it mean to find an old wallet with just 0.001 on it, with 1 millibit? And these are really interesting times, very exciting times. We have very exciting news on the way. Thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching this video. So much more coming up. Thank you for watching this content and learning about this information with me. Don't forget to tap that like button and subscribe. It encourages us so much, and it helps other people find this content. Also, if you're interested in behind-the-scenes access, special rewards, and a direct connection with me and our crypto community, then become our patron at patreon.com/mintingcoins or via our website at mintingcoins.com/join. We look forward to connecting with you, because together we are minting coins.